Are you sure?
Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never ask a bride why she's getting married. Don't wear a skirt on a windy day. Deodorant is not a shower. Don't sniff chili flakes. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Reading the writings on the wall in poll-bound Punjab, I am conflicted on what to choose first. Politics and electoral prospects, or the far deeper social change that is political as well as religious. Frankly, that distinction doesn't even particularly apply to Punjab, as combining religion and political power is enshrined in the Miri Piri doctrine central to Sikhism. It has only become stronger over the centuries since it was formalized by the Sikh Guru, Guru Hargobind from 1595 to 1644 AD. He ritually wore two swords, one of Miri and the other of Piri, faith and spirituality. The first, Miri, is political and temporal power, and the second, Piri, faith and spirituality. Since this installment in the Writings on the Wall series is based mostly on travels through the Majha region as the mostly agricultural, super fertile expanse west of the Beas River and bordering Pakistani Punjab is called, and has everything marked by the deeds and footsteps of the great gurus, I'd rather begin with the latter. You will also find some of the holiest Sikh shrines here, Golden Temple at Amritsar of course, and then its replica Gurdwara at the nearby Taran, which is also called Darbar Sahib, like the Golden Temple in Amritsar. And in fact, the one at Taran has the largest sarovar or holy water tank of any Gurdwara. With so much religiosity meshed with politics, this has always been a fertile ground for radicalism as well. The important and worrying thing is that at least 3 of the 5 contenders in these elections are working on relighting the fires that lie dormant for 3 decades. 3 of the 5 contenders, I mean, as in parties or groups, not individuals. It is not a message you will read first on a wall, but you will see it in an exhibit, the large model of the Holy Akal Takht, as it looked after the battering by the army's Vijayanta tanks and the 25-pounder guns during Operation Blue Star almost exactly 40 years ago this week as we talk. In fact, Monday the 3rd will be the 40th anniversary, the 3rd June. This model has been placed strategically between the Akal Takht and the Golden Temple, so a devotee going to either sees this first. Who's put it there? The Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee. Who rules? Or SGPC. Who rules the SGPC? Shiromani Akali Dal, the preeminent Sikh party now battling for survival, its vote share falling below 20% for the first time, its partner, the BJP, its old partner, the BJP, gone. In fact, as long as the BJP was its partner, it did not see the need to relight the 1984 fire. It talked about excesses, atrocities, etc., but left it there, left it just at the talk level. It never revved up that emotion on the ground, but it's doing that now. Some of its vote share it's been losing to the Congress. Much more was taken in its devastation by the AAP in the last assembly elections, and now there is a threat from a combination of new and old radical leaders. It lost its most vital ally in the BJP. The curious and the worrying thing is that the Akalis are not the only party playing with this fire. Even the BJP, whose cadres lost so many lives fighting militancy, has jumped in. At a big rally for its candidate, former and much respected top IFS officer or former ambassador to the US to Washington, Taranjit Singh Sandhu, before BJP President JP Nadda arrived, the party's formidable Sikh leader Manjinder Singh Sirsa reminded his audience of how, and I quote from him, the Congress party had attacked your temple, the Akal Takht, with tanks and artillery. Tanka te topan de naal hamla ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ. 4 decades after that most traumatic week in Punjab, the Akali Dal seized the political compulsion to bring it back. The BJP, desperate to make a mark and with the vengeance of a jilted old lover, because they feel let down by the Akali Dal, with the vengeance of a jilted old lover, is joining the bandwagon. Both former partners are competing in this, with Simranjit Singh Maan, the former IPS officer seeking re-election in distant Sangrur, leading the radicals, leading the stride of the radicals. Along with him, there is the new kid on the block. That is Amritpal Singh, who's currently detained in Dibrugarh. He is contesting as an independent in Khadur Sahab next door to Amritsar. And then there is Sarabjit Singh in Faridkot, which is a reserved constituency. Sarabjit, by the way, is the son of Bean Singh, one of the Delhi policemen who assassinated Mrs. Gandhi and who was shot on the spot by other security men. Radicalism is back, especially in zones where Sikhs form a large rural majority, and three of the five prominent political forces in this election are playing with it. Now you can see why that model of a wrecked Akal Takht Sahab today is the starkest writing on the Punjab wall. Amritpal Singh, Amritpal Singh Khalsa as he calls himself now, whose organization is called somewhat blandly Waris Punjab De, Inheritors of Punjab or Legatees of Punjab, is just 31 and a pretender to the cult of Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale. He too, by the way, rose in his 30s and died in his 30s. Amritpal Singh made waves in Punjab last year, and unlike Bhindranwale, who never used the word Khalistan, never, in fact, any time any of us raise this question with him, are you demanding Khalistan? Are you demanding a separate state? He would say, I never asked for Khalistan, but if they give it to me, I will not say no, right? So he left it there. So unlike Bhindranwale, who never at least directly used the word Khalistan, Amritpal flaunted it liberally. Days after a daring raid on a big border police station at Ajnala to free a follower, see where Ajnala is on the map, it's very close to the border with Pakistan. It's a sensitive police station. He raided it along with hundreds of his followers with the Holy Guru Granth Sahib on his head, and that became a controversial issue, something for which even Simranjit Singh Mann upbraided him publicly in a statement, and now speaking to me, he said that these are the acts which show that Amritpal Singh is still immature. Nevertheless, he backs Amritpal in his elections. Let me come back to the point. Amritpal Singh was arrested on 23rd April last year and taken away to Dibrugarh in the eastern corner of Assam, probably the prison most distant from his village, that is Jallupur Kheda in Tarn Taran district. Belying all apprehensions, there were almost no protests when he was arrested. No trouble. His legend, it seemed, was over. Just a bubble that grew too fast and then burst. It is now making a return. He is contesting from his own borough now, Khadur Sahab constituency, where his village falls, as an independent. He is, however, supported by Simranjit Singh Mann, as we mentioned earlier. Amritpal doesn't have Simranjit Singh Mann's symbol. Simranjit Singh Mann has a party which is Shiromani Akali Dal Amritsar, as he calls it, SAD Amritsar. Amritpal does not have his symbol, but posters, booklets, pronouncements all speak of their partnership. Mann tells me Amritpal wanted support and he said yes, and then adds as a calm afterthought, although I don't think he even needs it, he's winning anyway. You want to see how his support is working out and how his campaign is working out on the ground? Join me on the roadshow his mother is leading, seeking votes for him in the Khadur Sahab constituency next to Amritsar, bordering Pakistan all along its western limits. His flag is the most colourful of all, with blue, saffron and yellow. See it on your screen, with blue, saffron and yellow. And his symbol, fittingly, is a microphone. Slogans are nothing you can object to, nothing objectionable. It's actually 3 p.m. when we catch up with his mother's roadshow, with a merciless sun and mercury at its peak. As the roadshow goes past villages, more vehicles join in, the procession grows, and it mostly has young Sikhs, some Nihangs, and there is no religious slogan. Definitely no separatist slogan. Who's paying for your campaign? I ask Amritpal's father Tarsem Singh as the group winds up at his home, a langar running outside. I quote from him, he says, we have nothing. The Sangat, which is the community contributes, the Sangat contributes. Then there is the Akal Purukh, the Almighty. You really think the government will release your son if he wins? I take the conversation forward. Well, they have to then think about what they'll be saying to the nearly 5 lakh, mostly young people who will vote for him. The former crane driver in Mumbai, Bahrain and Dubai has clarity. He fields the K question, the Khalistan question. He fields the K question with a straight face. And I quote again from him, we've We want everybody to be pure. That is Khalis. That's what we mean by Khalistan. What's wrong with that? Much of the logic over dhakka or injustice to Sikhs is put forward by a man called Swaran Singh Golden, one of Amritpal's many uncles. It's the story you've heard many times. Many times, if you stopped by these parts 40 years ago, you heard the same story repeated. You heard the same story in the Golden Temple as well, when politics was run from there, in that difficult era. So what's the story? I'm giving you a very brief version. Until 1849, the Sikhs were an independent nation. After Maharaja Ranjit Singh's death, his successors were not so smart. Within the next decade, the British conquered them by deceit. Even Kashmir was ours. It's written in our scriptures that China and Russia will join hands and fight with the West. There will be a world war and the map of the world will be redrawn. It's been written, likhya hua hai, right? It's been written. Nobody can stop or reverse what's been written. This is bound to happen. Now, do you recall that part-time actor and Waris Punjab founder Deep Sidhu's little speech at the farm protest that went viral, where he said something like, and I'm paraphrasing, this isn't just about the farmers or farm protest or farm laws, it is about changing geopolitics, and so on and so forth. He unfortunately died in a road accident a few months later. In fact, this time Amritpal isn't promising anything you and I could object to or describe as radical. Bringing those guilty of sacrilege to justice, a sincere fight against drug culture, prevention of conversions with allurement and deceit, obviously conversions to Christianity, and interestingly, opening trade with Pakistan across the borders and prevention of immigration away from Punjab among his 10-point charter, right? Nothing any other party in Punjab won't promise. In fact, most of the parties in Punjab will be shy of promising that they will try and minimize migration out of Punjab. Many of them might actually say that we'll help you get visas and migration to Canada and places like that. But he says the opposite, because there is another problem in Punjab, which is villages they are not exactly emptying out, but there is an exodus of young people. Also, Punjab and the Sikh community have had very low birth rates for a long time. In fact, they are not given adequate credit for this in the manner that Kerala and Tamil Nadu are. Today, the total fertility rate among the Sikhs is the same as that of people in Kerala and in Tamil Nadu. In fact, even Punjab's total fertility rate is below the 2% mark, which is below replacement level. So that is what's leading to these concerns that too many of our young people are leaving. And that is what Amritpal Singh is cutting into. At which point, I take my mind back to how this countryside looked 3 to 4 decades ago. I say 3 to 4 because that was the period of 1983 to 1994 when I travelled in those parts quite extensively and quite frequently while working for India Today magazine. The same fields, the same crops, although one addition now is maize, maki, right, or corn. That you didn't see very much of earlier. Now you begin to see it, particularly between crops. Between wheat and paddy, there is also some sunflower. But besides that, this is almost similar to what it used to be. Still entirely agrarian society. In different education and formal skills, immigration, the only ambition for the young. Immigration ideally to Canada. If that doesn't work out, maybe Italy, maybe New Zealand, maybe someplace which will then become a transit halt either to Canada or to the US, but Canada is the preferred destination. But for any of that, you have to first pass IELTS, which is International English Language Testing System, a basic test of English language that most flunk, unfortunately. In fact, there are movies about it. If there's one thing you can never accuse the Punjabis of is of not having a sense of humor. So also check out a film. You can find it on Amazon Prime, I think. A film titled Jat versus IELTS, and that talks about the same predicament of a young Sikh boy struggling to pass IELTS so that he can go to Canada. Watch that film if you can. The dress, demeanor, talk, constant harking back to scriptures by even the young, it is as if the region has stayed frozen in time. Even as a lot of the country has moved on, at least a lot of the country has heavily urbanized. or has moved into big cities within the country. When you think regional imbalances next time, therefore, don't just think coastal states versus the Hindi heartland. Rural Punjab will be somewhere in the middle. It is not poor by any means, it is just that it's not been growing and it's been caught in that same agrarian trap. While the young from many other states in the country, many other parts of the country have moved on with modern education, looking at white-collar jobs and many finding blue-collar jobs in factories that are coming up. Unfortunately, that phenomenon has passed Punjab by. That's why its rural working class dreams of migrating not to another Indian state, not to Bangalore, Bengaluru, not to Mumbai, not to Hyderabad, not even to Gurgaon, but straight to Canada. I will now explain to you why. Agricultural income and remittances have enabled families to build sizable houses. As you drive past them, you will be taken aback by Haveli-sized houses jutting out of corn and fodder fields this May. But what would the Tarn Taran Gen Z do here? It is as if entrepreneurship, industrial services, modern entrepreneurship and urbanization have passed rural Punjab by. Most of these young people won't make the cut for new age jobs in India. They only look at Canada for low value jobs there. That's also their leap into urbanization of a kind. Let's call it from Tarn Taran straight to Toronto, British Columbia, places like that. It is this frustration, pent up anger among a proud people who feel they've been left out, that's driving the drug culture at one end and radicalism on the other. Beyond the scriptural prophecies, the contemporary clamour is all about Modi, RSS and their homogenization project. You'll be surprised by how many young people talk about this, young and old. The line you would hear most often across age groups is, don't ask us if we want Khalistan. Just tell us if there can be Hindu Rashtra, what's wrong with thinking of a Sikh nation? Exhausted at the end of this campaign in Sangrur, Simranjit Singh Mann, now in his 80th year and a warrior of 4 decades, puts it more elaborately. And he says, and I quote, minorities are being targeted in Manipur. So many tribals, including women, have just been killed in the name of Nationalism in Chhattisgarh. Muslims are under attack. And then he says, while in the past, India only gave information to foreign government under Sikh activists that it was targeting. This is a quote from Simranjit Singh Mann, his description, Sikh activists that it was targeting. Now they just go and shoot them. That's obviously a reference to Nijar and Pannu. Why shouldn't the Sikhs, as a small minority, be also thinking hard about their options? I asked him, what will this election be called? What will he call this election? He said, this is a Panthik election. That voting will now take place in the name of the faith. And he gives his reason. He says that's why the Akalis have lost the faith and the Akalis have lost the Sikhs. And then starts the entire talk of sacrilege cases, about the delayed elections to SGPC, etc., etc. And then it moves on to familiar grievances, non-release of what is called as Bandi Sikhs. That's several Sikhs who've been held in captivity, held in prison for almost 3 decades, in couple of cases longer, because they were involved in very major terror cases, including the assassination of then Chief Minister Jain Singh. Now the argument from the Sikh side is that if you can release conspirators in Rajiv Gandhi assassination, who were also serving life sentences, if you can release them now after they've served a certain number of years, why can't you give the same treatment to Sikh convicts as well? That is called the Bandi Singh issue. Bandi means prisoner, the Sikh prisoners issue. So that is one grievance. Second is what is seen as a soft approach to sacrilege cases, those guilty of sacrilege at the Gurdwaras. Then it moves on to Shiromani Akali Dal hanging on to SGPC with its control of the SGPC and not holding its election for 14 years. Because in Sikh politics, control of SGPC is the most important prize. From campaign Amritpal to Comrade Jagdish Kaur is a radical shift in more ways than one. 4 decades ago, we knew Bhikhivind as a small border village not far from Khemkaran, where the most storied tank battle of the 1965 war took place. That was the Battle of Asal Uttar. It was also among the most affected by militancy, Bhikhivind. This is the region where terror groups didn't defy the government in that period. They were the government by 1990. 1990 was the bloodiest year in Punjab insurgency, taking a toll of 5,070 civilian lives, according to South Asia Terrorism Portal. In fact, the portal also tells us that between 1990 and 91, more lives were lost in Punjab to militancy and terrorism than in the previous 12 years, than in the preceding 12 years. It was that difficult a year, that bad a year. Bikibint village has now grown into a small town with private hospitals, a couple of pizza, burger shops, one even called Canada Burger, as you would expect, and large schools. One school has so many ACs jetting out of its classroom windows that you would confuse it with the two-star hotel of the kind you will find close to airports in medium-sized cities. There is also a more modest one on the same artery running sort of parallel to the border. This is called Evergreen Senior Secondary School. This is where the co-founder, Comrade Balbinder Singh, was assassinated allegedly by hitmen of the Khalistan Commando Force on 16th of October 2020. In fact, after that, I had featured this incident in a full episode of Cut the Clutter, of which I will share a link with you. The National Investigation Agency, NIA, subsequently busted the module, and 8 alleged killers and conspirators are now facing trial. Jagdish Kaur is struggling to keep the school going. Nobody wants to send children to a state board school in any case. First of all, parents have concerns that the school will be targeted again or can be targeted again. And second, nobody wants to send children to a state board school when CBSE ones are available. CBSE, even ICSE ones are available. Plus, she's got no ACs in the classrooms. Going back to 1990, besides the 5,070 civilians in that year, Punjab police lost 452 lives, 452. In Punjabi, 452. 452 lives. That's more than what any Indian uniformed force has lost in any year, anywhere. New Delhi had India's weakest government ever at that point. In fact, I've said it often enough that the only government in India's history that was really weak on national security was VP Singh's. Fortunately, it did not last very long. And while VP Singh waffled, the police found some innovations. One of these enabled the rise of incredibly courageous people like Comrade Balbinder Singh and his wife Jagdish Kaur. Both members of the CPM had Comrade prefixed to their names, Comrade Balbinder, Comrade Jagdish Kaur. One of the least acknowledged stories of that era is the fight the comrades put up on the ground in Punjab. The police armed them and mostly left them to their own fate. More than 200 comrades died fighting in that decade. More of that I keep back for another piece in my other occasional series, First Person, Second Draft. Writings on the Wall is one occasional series. The second one is First Person, Second Draft. For now, let's go back to the story of December 1990. Then, along with photographer Prashant Panjiyar, we reported a cover story for India Today magazine traveling through Punjab under what the cover headline aptly described as Rule of the Gun. See the cover pictures of both the English and Hindi editions. Where did I find those pictures? I found those pictures on one of the boards inside the Evergreen Senior Secondary School, that is Jagdish Kaur School in Bikibint. The armed couple on the tractor are comrades Balbinder Singh and Jagdish. The little boy is son Gagandeep. The family was targeted by militants almost on a daily basis and fought off 42 attacks, 2 of them with rocket launchers. Both Balbinder and Jagdish Kaur were awarded Shaurya Chakra. In fact, Punjab police left them to their own devices. For their quote-unquote protection, they set up a little police post not far from their home, but policemen from that police post kept running away. At one point, Jagdish Kaur told us they even asked people they were supposed to protect, that is Jagdish Kaur and Balbinder, to put them under a lock and keep the keys. So even if the terrorist came, they had the excuse to say, but we are locked inside, how can we come outside? At one point, Jagdish Kaur reminds me now that 2 of them ran away with their weapons and joined the militants. The entrance to that unpaved street, which led to their home then, was guarded by another comrade, Comrade Major Singh, who too was targeted. An assassination on him was attempted even through a milkman carrying a bomb in his milk bucket. The bomb went off prematurely, killing the milkman. We witnessed then and reported on the couple with pictures of how the entire family, including toddler Gagandeep, he's now in his mid-30s obviously, including toddler Gagandeep, were part of the fight. He was already adept at refilling the carbine magazine with his little fingers as firefights went on sometimes for hours. That war was won by the good side by 1994, and Punjab has enjoyed total peace since then. It's been 3 decades of total peace. But the enemy has a long memory. That's why Balwinder and wife always remained marked targets. Comrade Jagdish Kaur talks about the past and the present with an equanimity you only get from decades of struggle. Her husband, she said, used to receive threats, the latest just 10 days before he was killed. He emailed a complaint to police headquarters and even got an acknowledgement. But nobody probably suspected the killers were so close. Even now, she says the family has been given a police gunman, but all he's armed with is an ancient carbine. And there is always the fear that even if he dropped it accidentally, it will fire off a couple of rounds hitting just about anybody. The request that he be given an AK-47 isn't being accepted. The surviving comrade, Jagdish Kaur, walks us around the school, showing bullet marks on the walls where Balwinder Singh was shot. Police CCTV cameras, main and backup track every move. Gagandeep, now well into his 30s, joins in the walk around with his wife. For Jagdish, one regret besides security and the lack of any government grant of support after fellow Shaurya Chakra awardee Balwinder's assassination is the decline of the left, especially the CPM in the post-Harkishan Singh Surjit era. She lives in a zone where the greatest challenge to India's unity was fought between 1981 and 1994. The zone isn't anywhere near returning to that mayhem. The old generation that survived it still has enough nightmares not to ever return to it. But the economic stagnation, disillusionment of the youth, drugs, infinitesimal strike rate with that Canadian dream, separatist social media propaganda, mostly emerging on YouTube and WhatsApp from Canada, rising religiosity, and leaders like Amritpal have made it ripe for renewed trouble. It is for all the reasons that I have given you so far that we gave the socio-religious churning the precedence over immediate electoral politics in this edition of Writings on the Wall. The politics, however, is also more exciting and challenging than almost anywhere in the country. This is Punjab after all. Everything has to be exciting. It's a small state, but only in that it sends 13 MPs to Lok Sabha, just 13 MPs to Lok Sabha. We need not waste your time repeating why it's so important. How exciting and challenging the election is, you will read on the walls again. If you make a minute's halt at Amritsar's Rialto Chowk, named so after an old cinema hall, there are hoardings in series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that, from the AAP, Congress, Shiromani Akali Dal, the BJP, all contesting that seat, Amritsar seat. There is a smaller one for Amritpal with his mic symbol for the neighbouring Khadur Sahib. There are two others in the same series of hoardings or in the same wall of hoardings that complete the picture. But I will come to these two in just a minute. Meanwhile, 10 of Punjab seats have a four-way contest, four-way fight between the Congress, Akali Dal, Aam Aadmi Party and BJP. In 3, make it 5-way with a significant radical contesting too. Amritpal Singh in Khadur Sahib, Simranjit Singh Maan in Sangrur and Indra assassin Bayan Singh's son, Sarabjit Singh in Faridkot. In the last 2 seats, in fact, Sangrur and Faridkot fall in the Malwa region, not in the Majha region. In a 4 or 5-way fight with no overarching theme and absence of what is called as the Modi wave, any party that gets about 2.5 lakh votes out of approximately a million expected to be cast can win. Punjab is one state in the north, with the exception of Jammu and Kashmir of course, to fully duck 2 Modi waves in 2014 and 2019, and this year looks pretty much the same. But once again, with a party needing just about 2.5 lakh votes, anything can happen. The Akali BJP split though has increased the division of votes, which might weaken both, but ironically the same division can also help a candidate here, another candidate there. At just 2.5 lakh, 2.5 lakh votes, you can be first past the post. Only a reckless and foolhardy analyst will dare to call this election in Punjab. Which brings me back to the 2 hoardings I mentioned and promised to come back to in a bit. So I am there now. One of the hoardings in the same row is from Purohit Ankur Yusuf Narula Ministries, plugging his Chutkara Sabha, good riddance congregations, to help you spiritually rid yourself of disease, drugs and other worldly troubles. Purohit is just code for pastor. Rural Punjab has seen a massive growth of Hindu and Sikh named pastors, as Chitleen Sethi of The Print reported in a brilliant story, of which I will share a link with you with the description of this video. These pastors are also widely accused of converting Sikhs to Christianity, increasing insecurities in this region. It feeds into Sikhs' fears over their dwindling numbers, and Amritpal Singh is promising to contain these. Further, in the same wall of hoardings, you will also see one with the giant picture of that shattered Akal Takht in 1984. Political divisions, Hindu-Sikh, which is BJP Akali split, fear of conversions, and Operation Blue Star as triggers for new radicalism personified by candidate Amritpal Singh. You can read all of this in writings on just this one wall. And this is in the heart of Amritsar. Maybe we've been wrong to call Pole-bound Punjab a confusing state.